Coach, how we doing today?
Hey, we're doing great. How you guys doing?
We were just talking, and we'll bring you into this conversation about your team's ability last night to avoid Poland's trap defense when they put it on and stay on live ball turnovers. Talk about that real quick to finish our conversation and how good of a job your guards did at staying out of trap points against this Poland defense.
Yeah, it's just a learning process. I mean, we played them the first time, at Poland, and it hurt us in the fourth quarter. They came from we were up 13 or something, I think, and ended up winning the game by 4. We knew it was coming. Marlington's very similar. They do the same kind of stuff with their 1-2-2 full and three-quarter court traps. So we've been working quite a bit. Once the season was over, even going into our first 2 tournament games, our girls were getting ready for these games during those games as well.
Coach, talk about this matchup now with Marlington. This third time around, you guys are 1-1 with each other. Obviously, all too familiar, being conference opponents. What do you expect from the Dukes going into this one, and what are your kind of keys to victory, and what do you kind of need to stay away from to come away victorious in this one?
Yeah, Marlington's a real good basketball team. We're respecting that. They've got some girls that Warner can handle the ball at point. She's a 3-year starter at point guard. Evanich is a load underneath. She's playing really well. Excuse me. She's playing really well, rebounding and scoring. She had 29 against Streetsboro the other night. They're a really good team, a confident team, and they're playing, they're a good basketball right now. We're going to have to play really well to beat them. Our girls are hungry. We beat them at home at the buzzer in December, and then come back in January, and they got us over at Marlington. We didn't shoot the ball very well, so that's one thing we're going to have to do versus their 2-3 zone, and then handle the ball again versus their trap and not panic and make good passing decisions, good shot selection. Defensively, we're going to have to be there to contest shots and try to take away some of the things they like to do, which is going to be real difficult since they, have a lot of girls that can score.
Coach, it was a familiar opponent in the district semifinals against Poland. You said it last night to me as you were walking out. You almost know you're going to have to go through Poland every year if you want to win a district championship, the way these things line up. Talk about what it's been like to go through this rivalry with the Bulldogs and the mutual respect between you and Coach Blanche.
Yeah, it's been a lot of fun. I mean, ever since I met Coach Blanche the first time, they came to our summer league many years ago, and he was trying, as a new coach there to get that program back on top. I remember when Dunn coached there against Coach Campbell, they had some good girls and some good teams, and it was a rivalry with those two. And, he came over here, and they weren't real good. And he wanted to be, catch up to us, and he watched some of the things that we did. And very quickly, he turned that back around and got them back up to the top. And it has been a lot of us and them ever since we came over to Fitch. We had been playing over at Louisville and Lake and even Massillon that way in our districts. And when we came to Fitch, it started to become a rivalry. At the beginning, it was Struthers and Canfield, but in the last 10 years, it's been a lot of us in Poland. I know that we've won that district 5 times. Poland's won it twice, and Lakeview had a really good team a few years back, and I think in 16. But that's been it. In the last 5 years, it's been us or Poland. And I told Coach Blanche last night, I says, this seems a little weird. We should be playing in Austintown right now. And they got a new athletic director, and they didn't host this year, but it would have been very easy to see that venue at Austintown. But good atmosphere, good crowd last night for both games, and he just does a great job. I respect him highly, and his girls play hard, and they just reload like us, and we know they'll be good for years to come.
Yeah, just to reiterate on that support you guys get, I think there's no question that West Branch has just phenomenal support for all athletics. But just talk about girls basketball support in general, too, the kind of support you guys have gotten all season. And has it ramped up? I got to imagine 10-4 now during tournament time.
Yeah. I mean, we've had, during the season, Salem and Marlington were packed houses. So our girls got a little bit familiar playing in front of a crowd. And I really thought after we settled into that first quarter, we got a good start, but then, Poland going to come right back. We took that, we took the first punch there on them, and then we knew that they'd come right back. It's tied 10-10 at the end of one. I thought it was really important in the second quarter. We settled down a little bit and got that 7-point lead in the second quarter. And that was huge for our confidence in the locker room, for our young girls. And, we got a sophomore point guard, a sophomore center. In our top 8, we have 4 sophomores and 2 juniors. But ultimately, it came down to, our seniors. I mean, Sydney Mercer played great defense and held Kluchart down there. She's a really good player and has been playing well, and that was a key. We knew she'd step up as a senior too. And then Anna Lippitt, on Connie Kugris, their leading scorer, and Connie did not score. She's a talented player, and it seemed like Anna, with her length, always got there and contested the shot. And then, of course, Anna just offensively really stepped up for us and led us with her threes and one and all those kind of things. And that's what seniors do. And the younger girls just followed them with hustle plays. Fitzy's missed 3 in the corner, the big girl, and followed with a putback. Those are the type of plays. And the younger girls see the older girls want it at this point in the season, and they don't want their season to end. They don't want to take that uniform off. That's what it's all about.
Coach, when you look at the way this game unfolded, you kind of went over it a little bit in your answer, but you tie the first quarter 10, you win the second quarter, they win the third quarter, and then you come out and win the fourth quarter. That tells me that both halves you finished really well. You finished the first half well, you finished the second half well. Talk about your team's ability to finish and how important that was and how important that will be going forward.
Well, it's a sign of maturity for our team. That wasn't happening at the beginning of the year. It was like, who's going to make a play? Everybody was looking around on the floor like, who's going to make a shot? When we were turning it over, and a lot. Our turnovers have been cut in half since the first half of the season. And it's just a sign of maturity and, in practice and working in practice and looking at the preparation and the little things. You look for those little nuggets, and sometimes a couple things on film or in practice are going to help, that possession to get a victory. But finishing last night, I was really proud of them to finish that game last night. We hadn't done that, like I said, the first time at Poland. And it's real critical for the basketball team. When you got a lead, you got to know how to handle the basketball, take good shot selections if it's there. You don't want to take bad shots and let them back in the game. You don't want to stop the clock by fouling. And just I thought we handled the ball the last 4 minutes of the game really well and still made some shots. And that was critical because we tried to just hold on for dear life at Poland, and it almost cost us. And this time, Gregory made a couple layups, tough layups going to the basket on cuts. Libby Showalter, a rebound putback on a miss. Anna Lippitt with her big-time 3. And, of course, Anna is a real good foul shooter. So we want to try to get her to the line. Not that anybody, can't go there. But if Anna's got the ball in her hand, we're real comfortable with her shooting free throws down the stretch.
Coach, we know down the stretch, too, it comes down to role players that can make all the difference going into tournament time, because we all know those big players get keyed in, they get circled on. We all know who the big scorers are for each team. Who are some role players that you've seen step up for this team that have really made all the difference in these games that you're going to need to continue stepping up against the Dukes?
Well, balanced scoring has a lot to do with it. And last night, Hannah Egley had been shooting the ball really well for us, and we thought, we won by 11, and she didn't shoot it well. I mean, she had a couple opportunities, and a couple of them went in and out for her. But we expect when she shoots the ball, right now we feel it's going in. That's how much confidence she has since the beginning of the season, and stuff like that. And she's one of our starters there. Michaela Fitz is getting better, 6'1" girl, just, she's playing more aggressive now. And that's a key factor off the bench for us to, give Showalter and Mercer a break and get some quality minutes. And we really talked to our bench about quality minutes. Chloe Dennison, a sophomore, guard, she's come in and had some good plays for us defensively, offensively, she had an open look last night. We thought, hey, it's going in because the last couple games it did. And she had 7 points in her last tournament game. So, just understanding the roles, I think that's one of the key factors of why we've been successful, is because that takes time for every player, starter, non-starter, coming off the bench, even girls that don't play at the end of the bench, on how they've got to practice against us and get us ready every day. Those are all roles, whether it's you're a cheerleader on the bench, or whether you are patting somebody on the back in the locker room when they're not having a good game, or coming to the bench during a timeout. Those are all roles that are so critical to having a successful team, because it takes a lot of unselfishness in today's world, when everybody wants to be the star or play or get the points or whatever it may be, get your name in the paper. It's really a lot of times those role players, those great teammates that are just as excited for us to win, just as excited for that girl or their friend on the team to make a big play for us. That's so important to the chemistry of a basketball team. And you know as well as I do, if you got good chemistry and they all like each other, they're going to play hard for each other.
Coach, we've talked to you a lot about building programs because yours is one of the most consistent in the area. When you look at the district championship games and continuously getting there and continuously showing the young players on your roster what it takes to get there and then how to handle that atmosphere, how important has that been to building this program, and how important is continuing to do that going to be to keeping this program where it's at?
Right. Well, my first year, 05, 06 season, I took over for Chuck, and I was his assistant. The year before, we lost in the district final to Hoban. The year before, they beat Hoban in a district final and went on, of course, to win the state championship. That next year was tough. We had one returning senior player that started. That was it. Basically one letter winner. And it took a lot of work. And we lost to Marlington that year in the sectional final. I took a bye, got rusty, sat around for 10 or 11 days. Nobody wanted to practice at that time. We just wanted to try to keep that rhythm in play. So at that point, I said, as long as I can not take a bye, I won't, because I want to keep that rhythm going and not get, long, boring practices at that point. We're, close to 70 practices now. So a lot of times it's one or two practices, let's go, let's play. And during the first probably 6-7 years of my head coaching career, we struggled, and we would win 12, 13, 14 games. It was a building process, a trust in my learning, off-season work, all those kind of things. And it just took time to develop that as a coach, and also, learn how to coach girls and learn how to do all that stuff. But the turnaround was when we finally broke through and made a district final. We lost a couple semifinals that we never got in that final. And once we got into that final, now we can do that. And then 3 years in a row, we lost that final. Now imagine standing across from the winning team. They're getting the gold medals. We're getting silver. We're crying. And it's all a learning process, right? And I'll never forget, one of our players, Rebecca Zetz, said, "Coach, come back and win this thing next year. You're going to be good enough to do it. And I will be in that locker room to celebrate with you." And she was. She was jumping up and down and spraying water all over the place or whatever when we won that district final championship for the first time. And those are all just getting over the hump. You believe you can win it. You understand how to win it. You understand how to prepare. And from that point, when we won that first one, then, we were there like 5 years in a row. And, and then we end up going to regionals, and we lost in regionals. And then we go to regionals again. We lost in regional final. And I remember St. V's coach telling me, next year's your coach. And I didn't want to hear that at that point. I said, that's a long way away, and you never know what's going to happen. And we knew we had 4 starters coming back with Trimmer and Heath and Johnson and Bach, but you're not guaranteed anything. And so they had to work hard for that. And sure enough, we finally won a regional championship to get to Columbus. And that's another stepping stone. You have to believe you can win it. And When the younger girls see that, whether, like I said, they're on the end of the bench, right, and they're studying and soaking all that stuff in, and they're all part of that ride and getting meals, and everybody patting them on the back, and then you got to get the practice, right? Once you get patted on the back all day in school, it's going to be like today. They're all, hey, great game last night, patting them on the back, and then turn around. We got to get to work in practice today. We got 2 days to get ready for a district final. So it becomes now seriousness, and put that game Poland behind you. It's over. Let's get on to Marlington and start preparing. And, those are all learning processes. And that's, why we're in the tradition and the winning program we're in, is because it is passed on to the younger girls. We've had, we usually get a couple of 6th grade ball girls every year. That's a tradition for us as well, to keep bringing a couple young girls. And we've had a lot of ball girls play for us later on. And they're in that locker room, and they see, all the wins and all the celebrations, and they've seen some losses, and some tough losses, and some tears, and some girls not wanting to take the uniform off for the last time. And that's, again, a learning process for them, and they can bring that up to them when they get older as well, just as long as it's same as our freshmen, sophomores that are on the end of the bench right now.
Coach, you talk about all these wins though throughout it. Now that you have all these wins, these experiences under your belt, do you ever feel a pressure going into season to season now of upkeeping the tradition and the success that has now been set at a bar for West Branch?
Yeah, sure. I mean, our expectations are high, and there's always pressures because of that. It's tough. And I always try to warn the girls every year. This is, you seniors, this is it. This is your last year. It's time for you to carry the torch. You got to remember all those players ahead. We always talk about past players. We got league championship pictures in our locker room. We have district championship pictures. I point at them sometimes like they're almost looking down on us like gods. They won the thing, and hey, look at them. They paved the way for you to be in a program that's bigger than yourself. And so it's time to carry that torch and work hard, because you don't want to be that team that has the first losing season in 27 years. You don't want to be that team that everybody talks about, that, oh, what's happened to West Branch basketball, so the off season, it all starts there with hard work. And there are pressures, there's no doubt. But you try to put that aside and just say, hey, it's basketball, have fun. And you only go through high school one time. You got 4 years to do this. You can't relive it. You can't redo it. So don't have any regrets. Get in that weight room, get in your driveway and shoot or ball handle. Do whatever you got to do to get better, so that we can keep reloading. And even though the last 2 years we've lost 6 seniors. Last year we lost 6 seniors the year before. And coming in this season, who's going to step up? Who's next? And that's what you're looking for as a coach, like girls that are hungry to say, it's my time now to, play in this program, for those girls that are behind me that paved the way, and also those girls that are coming, that are sitting in the stands, those little girls that are dreaming about wearing that same uniform you're wearing.
Coach, before we end this conversation, I want to preview the Saturday game a little bit more against Marlington. Obviously, you've played them twice. There's a lot of familiarity. How much can you learn from the 2 matchups that you've had with them, and how much of it do you kind of want to just hit reset and kind of say this is going to be a completely different game, and try to not dive into too much of the last 2 matchups?
Yeah, I mean, you got to study what you did right and what you did wrong. There's always little things that you can put in, and I'm sure they will too. They are who they are, and we are who we are at this point in the season. There's not going to be a lot of things you can change, because you don't want to overwhelm your players with a lot of information, and then they're thinking way too much, and things slow down on the floor. You just want them to be athletes and basketball players, and have the confidence to make plays, and put a bad play behind you. Go to the next play very quickly. And that's, in order to win a tournament game, it's going to take 32 minutes, sometimes more. You've seen buzzer beaters and all kinds of things that happen. So it's going to take 32 minutes, no matter what. If they take a lead, don't panic. Let's keep pushing forward and come back on them. And if we take a lead, they're going to come back after us. So it's going to be a game of runs. It's going to be a game of, because we do know each other so well, points will probably be at a premium. because both teams are going to play real hard on defense. There's going to be some nerves early, I'm sure, by both teams because it is a district final, and it'll be a lot of fans there. And like I said, I mean, we're used to that, and I think they are now too. They've gotten us the last couple of years. We lost all 3 last year to them and lost by 5 at Marlington because of COVID year. The districts were at home sites. So we lost by 5 at Marlington, and that didn't sit well. We were playing pretty well, and they shot the ball extremely well at home and made some shots that we didn't expect. So you've got to prepare for everything.
Coach, thank you so much for taking the time and joining us today on Running Point as you got to help us preview this West Branch matchup into the district championship with Marlington. Again, the Lady Warriors are there, and we wish you the best of luck against the Lady Dukes and bring another one home and get to regionals.
I appreciate it, guys, and all you do. And, we just are fortunate and blessed. I know a lot of people say, hey, West Branch is there again and again, but it's not as easy as what it looks, and our girls really took to heart everything that we did going in that game last night, and they executed. And no matter what happens, I'm proud of them, to be in this game. And it's always tough. People think, some teams don't get in a district final, but once every blue moon, And so we're happy to be there, and we're fortunate enough to be there, and we're just going to play hard for our community, our school, and represent ourselves well.
Coach, we can't wait to see you there, and we can't wait for the game, and we hope that we'll talk to you again real soon.
Okay, guys. Appreciate it. Thank you.